A very good evening to you from wherever you're watching us on this 27th day of June 2023. Just 3 days to the end month and 3 days to the start of the financial year 2023-2024. And of course, we will be having a conversation on that later on with political analyst or communication strategist, that is Madoka Kibet, later on in the bulletin. But first, as our custom, let's take a look at our top stories tonight. Maandamano to resume on July 7, Azimio says in its People's Baraza in Kamkunji, Nairobi. Stakeholders from different sectors discuss funding methods for the betterment of the health sector in today's health conference. A total of 338 Shakahola bodies have been exhumed so far. Pathology says starvation is the main cause of death. End to low oil to no fate on Turkana oil mining rights by September. All right, EVELYNE Langat is our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is ODIDA, and remember, we're live on our social media platforms. That is on Facebook and YouTube at KUTV_Kenya. The hashtag is Primetime News. We begin. Now, the Cabinet has approved the establishment of decentralized offices of the Attorney General and Department of Justice. The approval aims at taking the services of the state departments to the grassroots. At the same time, the Cabinet has approved the establishment of a special committee on pending bills to establish the integrity of all bills and cushion small enterprises against liquidity inadequacies. The committee will consist of the Attorney General and other state departments to examine and submit interim reports to the Treasury Cabinet Secretary within the year. Today's Cabinet meeting was chaired by President William Ruto at State House, Nairobi. Lawyer Dunstan Omari has expressed his desire for the office of the Director of Public Prosecution. The position fell vacant upon the appointment of Nordin Haji as the new Director General of the National Intelligence Service. The famed lawyer made the revelation at an event in Kisii County, where in his speech, Omari outlined his wins in cases Haji was prosecuting during his tenure as Director of Public Prosecutions. Now, the National High-Level Dialogue on Health Financing has entered its second day today. The focus of the session was domestic resource mobilization for sustainable health financing. Representatives from public sector, private sector, and researchers have covered important healthcare topics such as health financing strategies, boosting public spending, and exploring innovative mechanisms for sustainable healthcare in Kenya.
The National High-Level Dialogue on Universal Health Coverage event has concluded its day 2 with the dialogue aiming at addressing pressing issues of sustainable financing in the healthcare sector and devise effective implementation strategies. Representatives from the public sector, private sector, and researchers are joining forces to exchange ideas and strategies for better healthcare outcomes in Kenya. Atienza Ancona, Director of Equitable Financing at UNAIDS, highlighted the importance of increasing financial support and the need to integrate HIV services into the national budget and adopt an integrated health service model. Regina Ombam, ESC Health Financing Facilitator, has emphasized on various commitments of the ALMA Declaration at the dialogue, including increasing domestic investing in health, promoting better engagement with the private sector, establishing a regional health financing hub, enhancing national health financing systems, and improving public financial management capacity. Like other sectors, healthcare also needs to be given importance, and today morning, the panel discussion aimed at key issues including projects to expand local production of health products like Biovax, proper utilization of funds for a stronger healthcare system, encouraging citizen registration with the National Health Insurance Fund, importance of data-driven decision-making for optimizing healthcare outcomes, and working towards the target of 85% insurance coverage for all Kenyans through initiatives like the Primary Healthcare Fund. Lynette Maina, KUTV.
Right, Kenya will need 469.5 billion Kenya shillings to develop mining infrastructure at the oil-rich South Lokichar Basin. The site has an estimated 504 million barrels of oil in its reserves. The government is expected to make a decision on whether to pursue or drop the project by September. Foreign miner Tullow Oil Company had submitted a proposal on how to commercialize the oil blocks.
Energy and Petroleum Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir has indicated that the government is currently reviewing the field development plan to set the scene for a decision from the Cabinet and Parliament between next month and September on whether oil in Turkana will be explored. This comes after Tullow Oil Company submitted a revised field development plan early March to the energy regulator, giving hope of an end to delays in commercialization of the blocks in the South Lokichar Basin.
Bring the comprehensive full development report that will inform this House and the country that how profitable will it be to take this project to full financial closure and develop the oil fields. I think it will cost us some 3.4 billion to develop the whole infrastructure or set up before production.
Delays in submission of the FDP and a lack of an investor to bankroll the projects have derailed Kenya's effort to become one of the oil-selling countries, it being more than a decade since Tullow Oil discovered the oil reserves. The oil mining company has for years been looking for a strategic partner to cushion its risk from the multi-billion project, and currently it is in talks with Oil India and ONGC Videsh to secure a deal to buy an undisclosed stake whose value remains unclear in the 3 oil blocks that are wholly owned by Tullow to facilitate setting up a crude pipeline and processing facilities for the oil fields.
The export of these products. And when we come to this House with a field development plan, we'll comprehensively be talking to preparedness to go to market, either through a refinery or through a pipeline, so that the daily production gets to the market the same day. There'll be no tankage, because it's one thing to build a pipeline and we expect the pipeline to work for us every day. So the product should really be working for us every day, and the tankage would be held in Mombasa, and as soon as it's enough to go on a cargo of 85, 120,000 metric tons, it should be able to leave for market immediately.
Tullow was last month dealt with a blow after Total and Africa Oil, who held a combined stake of 50% in the oil project, exited, piling pressure on Tullow to finance the project and move it to the production stage. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
The third phase of autopsies on the bodies exhumed from Shakahola has been completed, where a total of 338 bodies have been examined since the exercise began. Out of the examined bodies, 201 are believed to be adults and 117 are children, with the ages of 20 bodies remaining undetermined. Another phase of exhumations is in the pipeline as families look for 600 people reported to be missing in connection to Shakahola cult.
end of the third phase of autopsies bring the death toll to 339 following the death of one of the members in prison. According to Chief Government Pathologist Johansen Oduor, out of the 338 bodies examined, 201 are believed to be adults, while 117 are children. The ages of 20 bodies was not determined.
We have performed a total of 338 postmortems, and of this, 201 are adults and 117 are children, while 20 of them we were unable to ascertain the age.
Additionally, 131 bodies were male and 185 were female. The gender of 22 bodies could not be determined due to the level of decomposition.
So with this, we are planning to go to the next phase of exhumation so that we go find out whether there are any other graves remaining there and continue with the whole process.
More exhumations are expected following the conclusion of the pending autopsies. 618 people who are believed to be followers of embedded Pastor Paul Mackenzie have been reported missing. The believers were fasting as a way to see God. In his statement regarding the conclusion of the third phase of the post-mortems, Chief Government Pathologist Johansen Oduor notes that the Shakahola incidents presented a unique learning opportunity for homicide detectives, forensic experts, and pathologists. Yvonne Kemuma, KUTV.
Now, courts have been urged to impose heavy penalties as deterrent measures to the alcohol brewers in the government's quest to fight illicit brews. According to Laikipia East Deputy County Commissioner Patrick Muli, the fines imposed are too small and will not stop the culprits from conducting illegal alcohol brewing business despite the government's efforts.
In a bid to eradicate the illicit brews menace in the country, courts have been urged to impose hefty penalties on the culprits to deter them from doing the illegal business. Laikipia East Deputy County Commissioner Patrick Muli blames the court for not aiding the police in eradicating the menace, lamenting that the culprits arrested are always released almost immediately.
Ndio mwingine ambao naona maybe tukiarrest tuna arrest, lakini upande wa mahakama tungeomba waweze kutupatia motisha wakati watu wanafikishwa pale, waweze kuwapatia penalty ambayo inaofaa.
According to the county commissioner, the police fulfilled their mandate of arresting the culprits, but once arraigned in court, the fines imposed are usually too small, which according to him does not deter the culprits from going back to the illegal business.
Unapata umeng'ang'ana, umeshika hii pombe na inachukua muda kupata either pombe, bangi, drugs, lakini akienda huko unapata mtu anaenda anaachiliwa, anapewa faini ya 2000. Na hao watu ambao wanapiga pombe wanakuanga na chama yao. So ikiwa ni 2000, hata huyo mtu akikanyanga hapo nje imelipwa.
Speaking during an illicit liquor crackdown in Turukuma na Yuki town, the commissioner urged the courts to increase the penalties so as to give the police a helping hand in eradicating the illegal businesses.
Tuweze kupunguza ama tumalize hii pombe haramu, mahakama watusaidie na kutusupport. Mtu akienda pale waweke steep penalty, ndio tuweze kupata morali ya kuendelea kufanya kazi.
During the crackdown, about 600 liters of illicit brews were destroyed, 2 motorcycles believed to have been used in supplying alcohol in the area confiscated, and 2 suspects arrested and detained at the Nanyuki police station. The operation goes hand in hand with Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's campaign against the abuse of drugs and illicit brews, where the second-in-command has vowed to eradicate the national menace. Ruth Wanjiru for KUTV.
In the counties tonight, about 9,000 students in Narok East constituency are set to benefit from 30 million shillings bursary, courtesy of the National Government Constituency Development Fund in the financial year 2022-2023. Also in Embu County, residents have been urged to register in groups for them to benefit from Uwezo funds, as Dorothy Musyoka reports.
Narok East Member of Parliament Ken Aramat has awarded his constituents with bursary funds. The MP says that applications increased in the current financial year, a positive indication that residents have embraced education, and urged them to ensure all their children are in school.
Since I've become an MP, the rise of education in Narok East have actually tremendously grown. were from 3,000, where all of them were 3,000 initially in 2013 to 9,000 at the moment.
MP Aramat held online application process for its transparency and accountability, saying that technology does not discriminate applicants, even those with divergent political stance.
I think we need all of us to go digital. I think it's a very beautiful thing. E-bursary ni transparent. Hakuna mtu ananyimwa, and you can see even crowds here will tell you what is it.
Mimi nimefurahi sana kufurahia mbunge kwa sababu hii digital application hii ya bursary imeturahisisha kazi sana. Tuna apply tukiwa nyumbani, tunapata na tunakuja kuleta hapa, ametupunguzia gharama kabisa.
In Embu County, Area Women Representative Njoki Njeru wants residents to register in groups for them to benefit from Uwezo funds. She was speaking during Uwezo funds and bursary checks distribution at Kanyambora Primary School in Mbeere North constituency.
Na vile ningehimiza ni watu waendelee kujiandikisha katika vikundi mbalimbali, kama ni wakina mama, wakina youth, wale wako katika biashara waweze kujiunga katika vikundi tofauti, hata wale tunasema hawajiwezi, the PWDs, waweze kuwa naweza kujiandikisha katika mambo ya Uwezo Fund.
Niko na mtoto anaishi na ulemavu wa mchanyato wa ubongo ama kwa lugha nyingine cerebral palsy, hydrocephalus na epilepsy. Na nilikuwa nimekuja kupata pesa ya Uwezo Fund kama kikundi, Ishara Vision for People with Disabilities. Na hiyo pesa itatusaidia kwa biashara tuweze kukimu mahitaji ya hawa watoto wetu.
Meanwhile, Kilifi County Governor Gideon Mung'aro has unveiled branded inspectorate vehicles for county enforcement officers. Governor Mung'aro warned the enforcement officers against misuse and mishandling the vehicles, failure to which stern actions will apply.
It is my pleasure to launch the Transport and Inspector Directorate and the Transport Inspectorate branded vehicles. And I want to ask you to work hard, and me, I will make sure I deliver my bargain.
The first KUTV.
All right, it is 16 minutes past the top of the hour, and with that story by Dorothy Musyoka, we are taking a very fast short break at this point. Of course, so much more lined up for you, so stay with us.
Kutoka kuwa jamii ya kuhamahama na sasa kujumuisha kilimo katika mitindo yao ya maisha. Kwenye toleo la kaunti ya Narok, hii ni Boresha Kilimo, kwani afya bora ni kilimo bora.
Kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha.
Anemia is a condition in which the blood doesn't have enough healthy red blood cells, and this leads to reduced oxygen levels in the body organs.
Anemia is not a disease per se. Anemia is a manifestation of another condition.
There you had it from Daktari. It is important to seek regular checkups, not just for anemia, but also other latent conditions.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. You're watching KUTV Primetime News. Let's continue with our coverage. Now, Azimio la Umoja coalition has issued a set of firm resolutions in protest of Ruto's Finance Act and the prevailing high cost of living. Among the resolutions include an appeal for Kenyans to boycott tax remittance and embrace civil disobedience to compel the government to take action and repeal the recently assented Finance Act. The opposition has made the remarks during their Kamkunji rally today.
It is a do-or-die moment for the opposition party as President Ruto continues to act dumb and deaf to their set of demands. The opposition is now calling on Kenyans to take action in the face of what they term as dictatorship and betrayal. Among the resolutions that Azimio has resorted to is the appeal to Kenyans to boycott tax payments, claiming that the just assented Finance Act was approved in defiance of Kenya's plea and without their consent. In addressing the double VAT on fuel, Azimio has called obedience by also doubling passengers' intake as an alternative to hiking fare prices to match fuel prices set to increase.
We embark on a campaign of defiance and civil disobedience, which will take different forms at different times, including refusal to pay taxes.
Speaking during the Kamkunji rally today, Azimio leader Raila Odinga also hinted at their planned mass signature collection to have finance bill repealed and send the government packing for failing to address urgent needs of the public.
Ruto is touching the limits of his illegitimate power. Ruto is touching whether we still have the will, energy, and resolve to fight remnants of dictatorship. After stealing our election last year, Ruto now thinks he can steal anything and get away with it.
Other resolutions that opposition has embraced include the move to terminate bipartisan talks and call for countrywide demonstrations. Azimio is also calling on Kenyans to isolate leaders who have acted traitors and keep off their offices. Joseph Oyomo, KUTV.
All right. Azimio leader Raila Odinga has announced the return of nationwide mass protest in reaction to President Ruto's assent to the finance bill and the resulting punitive taxes. Leading the opposition brigade in the Kamkunji Public Baraza held today, Raila urged the people to warm up for 7th July next month to protest exorbitant taxes and high cost of commodities, among them fuel, introduced by President William Ruto's government.
Raila Odinga and his Azimio entourage made a grand entry into the historic Kamukunji grounds amid a rousing welcome from expectant supporters. The Kamukunji Public Baraza was planned to chart a way forward and announce the cause of the opposition following President Ruto's assenting to the controversial finance bill and the resulting taxes that come by, amongst them the housing levy and the 16% fuel VAT. And the direction it was, Azimio leader Raila Odinga today at the event announced the party's resolve to bring back mass protests all over the country.
We began today and we will continue progressively, disclosing publicly, culminating the official start of massive countrywide demonstrations.
The fullness of Azimio's opposition to the government prevailed in today's rally, politician after another rising to express their displeasure with the trajectory of the cost of living and discontent with the conduct of the Kenya Kwanza government. Raila's announcement of the resumption of mass protests in the country is chills down the government, with top officials disagreeing with this kind of political discourse. All eyes and ears are now cast on the 7th of July next month, when the opposition leader will lead Kenyans in revolting against the government, a day set to rekindle the post-protest. Munene Weru for KUTV at the Kamukunji grounds, Nairobi.
Right, still on that, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party has declared that they will no longer engage in bipartisan talks with the Kenya Kwanza government following President William Ruto's decision to sign the contentious Finance Bill 2023 into law. The declaration, which was made at Kamkunji rally today, comes hours after the Kenya Kwanza bipartisan team invited the Azimio counterparts for resumption of talks scheduled for Tuesday, July 4th.
Speaking during their much-anticipated public rally at Kamkunji grounds in Nairobi today, the Azimio coalition led by opposition leader Raila Odinga distanced themselves from any talks with Kenya Kwanza regime. The declaration came just a few hours after the Kenya Kwanza bipartisan team led by MP George Muragura announced that the talks will resume next week Tuesday, inviting the Azimio team. The bipartisan committee co-chair George Muragura urged Azimio to rejoin the talks after weeks of inaction, stating that if the Azimio la Umoja coalition does not resume discussions by Tuesday, July 4th, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC selection panel will proceed with its mandate. The Azimio coalition has, however, outlined a series of measures that they have resolved to take in protest against what they perceive as a disregard for their views by President Ruto by signing the finance bill into law despite the public outcry. Patrick Oduor, KUTV.
All right, now with that story by Patrick Oduor, we are taking a very short break. But before we do that, we have our guest in studio tonight. That is Madoka Kibet, a political communication strategist. And we want to discuss all that is happening in the country at the moment, and including this finance bill that now the Azimio is on the streets for. Right? Madoka, you can say hello to our people and then we take a break.
Good evening, Kenyans. Thank you so much today for having me here at KUTV. I really appreciate actually the political cum of the political odiferous of the country is moving on the right direction since William Samoei Ruto has shown us that indeed you can come from nowhere up to somewhere. And to Raila Amolo Odinga, he has shown us weakness, of which he has lost in both parliament, from the Supreme Court to parliament to the finance bill, and now they are just telling us about theatrics.
All right, you can hold that just a bit. We're taking a very short break. We're coming back with Madoka Kibet, of course, and EVELYNE Langat, so stay with us.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
All right, welcome back to KUTV Primetime News. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's have that discussion with Madoka Kibet on the state of the nation. Madoka, karibu sana to KUTV once again.
Asante sana, nimefurahia.
All right, now I want us to get right into the topic. The conversation is still about the Finance Bill 2023.
Yes.
It has been signed. The budget has already been read. From your own standpoint, is it a hit or miss? Now that the conversation is still about this finance bill.
On the conversation of the finance bill, I'd say this last year before election, it was about the hustler versus the dynasty. The hustler won the election, of which now they have the government. So on this finance bill, it's about the hustler finance bill, of which it talks about uplifting of the mama mbogas, the mtu wa boda boda, and other small scale economic sector. That what there have been so much theatrics on this finance bill, and actually the government is moving on the right direction, because you cannot have money, you cannot borrow money from outside the government, from the vendors of the IMF, the World Bank, and of which we can just increase the tax base of our country. By increasing the tax base of our country, it means that the country can have sustainability. We can borrow less and use what we have in the country.
When you say that, you mean hustler finance bill. Why are the hustlers still not convinced that this bill is actually for them?
Actually, the hustler, for me, actually, last year election, I voted for Raila Amolo Odinga. I hoped for a change, and the change that the Kenyans decided that it's the hustlers' government, and from that we cannot have another election up to 2027, of which William Samoei Ruto was sworn in on eve of Kasarani daytime. It was not at night like the other predecessor, Mwai Kibaki. So for me, I believe that the hustlers still have the chance. The hustlers of this country can take us to a new, like I was comparing the two government of Kenya and Zambia. Hakainde Hichilema. Hakainde he came from where he found out that the country had around 16% inflation, and he reduced it to around 8%. For our country, it was 7.9 last month, up to 8% inflation. So for me, I believe that this finance bill, it's about the sustainability of the country.
When should we expect to see these changes now that the country is battling with the tough economic times? The people in Mashinani are crying, the mama mbogas are crying. When should we see changes?
The change, actually, the change, when you go about the Kenya Kwanza, the plan, they call the term as the plan, of which it was the vehicle that drove them to power. And about the Azimio one, for Kenya Kwanza, people believed, the hustlers, majority of the Kenyans believed that this is the right regime, of which William Samoei Ruto sell out about is for the government to reduce borrowing money from lenders and use what you have.
All right, but when you say that Kenyans believe that this is the right regime for them,
yes,
you haven't answered my question. The people are asking,
yes,
when should they start seeing changes? They actually want to see that they are safe in the hands of Kenya Kwanza government, because now they think that they're being overtaxed. What do you have to say about that?
On the issues of overtaxation in the country, there's no country that has developed without taxing its netizens or citizens in Kenya. With because the current flow that has brought this inflation is about the Ukraine-Russian war, and the former regime borrowed us to the exchequer up to the knees. So for the hustlers, actually, I believe that because I've been listening to both Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio side, what I believe is that the finance bill is already in the kitchen, it has been prepared, and it's about to be served to Kenyans. So on the issues of the being served to Kenyans, I believe for the next 1 to 2 years, we shall be back to where we belong.
All right, but how will it reduce inflation, for instance, now this Finance Bill 2023?
The Finance Bill will reduce inflation first on this economic issue. I believe that there was so much circulation of money in the country, and for now Kenyans will now buy bonds, government bonds, will save in their bank account, will save in their SACCOs and others schemes, which will reduce the supply and the demand of goods will reduce down.
All right, Madoka, now with the 2023-2024 budget, it has already been read.
Yes.
Do you think it is a hit or miss, and what do you think should have been given priority in that budget that was read 2 weeks ago? Yeah.
The people who have been given priority in this budget, I believe it's the hustlers, the Mutua Boda. Yesterday I was seeing the president having the Mutua Boda small sector launching their insurance scheme. That is the NHIF. It says that it has given around 117,000 free driving license to people and NHIF to people of Boda. For me, I believe that in Kenya right now, the small sector is about 98%, and the 98% of our small sectors are the SMEs, of which drives our economy. So, by taxing Kenyans, which means we can have a sustainable country.
But do you think, for instance, this 1.5% housing levy, will it really create more employment for the youth, as the president puts it?
I was looking at this way, having a house, let's say for example, having a house in my county, Nandi County, in Kapsabet town. The government has told us that the first people who will employ, the house levy will employ is about the masons, the masons, the Mutua Mukono, and Mama Uji and Mama Chai, and others, and other which are very. When someone has money in his pocket, it means that he can buy food on the table, and when buying food on the table already, you're already paying the taxes.
All right, but when you say that the hustler has been given priority at this point in time,
yes,
the economy is still on the high. How do we adjust while we wait for things to get better?
Things are getting better. First of all, what I believe is that for our country to grow, we need to have agriculture as the main sector of production. And when we invest in agriculture, that's what I've liked about the government. It has given us the free fertilizers of around 3,500 from 7,000 from last year. Now, from now up to August, I believe that majority of Kenyans will go home as relieved, because they will have a very high food in Kenya.
So before that is implemented, how do we adjust?
So
to ensure that
by adjusting to this, I'll not blame the current regime, because I've heard them saying that since they took over the country, they found 93 million from the exchequer. So the country did not have money. The other day, the country paid the governors from all over the county government. It paid all over the debt. It was, I think, I was listening to the president. He was saying on Sunday. So for me, I believe that he said a very critical thing, that I cannot go and borrow money from other areas, and giving these people, the county employees, by paying, because most of them have not been paid for up to 6 months of salaries, and having for them to be given money in their pocket, they can buy goods and do other services that can bring relief in our country.
All right, but before we came live, you mentioned that you are a former Azimio supporter. I would love to know why did you ditch Azimio, and what is the difference now? Why do you think that Kenya Kwanza is now doing better than what Azimio could have done?
For me, I believe, actually, before last year election, I had subscribed to Azimio kind of politics. I was very strong supporter of Raila Amolo Odinga. I used to work in his secretariat. I'm privileged to have worked at his secretariat. And on that, I believe that we have the government going home to vote on the eve of election, coming back to Bomas of Kenya, counting the votes, doing everything. I believe that Azimio was not ready for this election since there were so many loopholes that were not sealed. And having that, I participated in the maandamano of, it was in April. I came to realize that, okay, well, I came back to my senses that this country, it needs to develop. And we cannot fight the regime that is in the government. You cannot fight the state. You cannot fight the person who was sworn in by the Constitution of Kenya. We are the country of law. We live under the rule of law. So I realized that, okay, next election is about 2027. From now up to 2027, you cannot have another election. Maandamano is not going to bring food on my table. Maandamano is not going to make me develop because it is about destruction, balkanization of properties. So having taken this, it was very, I'd say, it was very hard feeling for me to think about it, but I came to a realization that, okay, well, I want the best of our country. I come from Nandi County. William Samoei is our president, and we, the Nandis, we cannot fight a person who is in power and is from our home. So I believe that this is the best, and this is the...
When you say that you ditched Azimio because you cannot fight the state,
yes,
then who is supposed to oversight the government if you are ditching, if you're coming from opposition now to the government, who will oversight the government?
The same government that people are doing oversight about it, I was looking at this way. On today's magazine, Raila, Kalonzo and Uhuru, they have been allocated 650 million. That's a lot of money. Divided by 3, which means the 3 of them will go hefty with 200 million each at home. What about those people from at home? Because for them, Baba today has said about the fuel levy, people should go, should walk up to work. How can you walk from Thika to town to go and work? There's no other way. For us to move the country to a better side, we need to buy fuel, and the fuel that is being bought, it's used for maintenance, it pays for his salary, and it pays for other government employees. When
you're talking about fuel, it being moved from 8% VAT to now 16% VAT, that means the cost of production is already going to go so high. For the common mwananchi, what do you make of that?
On the fuel levy, I'll say this. Actually, people are focusing on the 16%. They're not focusing on the RDL, the Railways Development Levy. That it has reduced 6% on this side and 6% on this side. So when I was looking at this way, when you look at what the government has reduced, it has reduced the fuel. Actually, I'm waiting for EPRL, the body for fuel, to reduce for up to 12 shillings. For me, I'd expect it to be up to 162 Kenya shillings. Yes.
But this fuel, Madoka,
yes,
when it's increased, you really haven't answered my question.
Yes.
It's increasing the cost of production in the country.
The fuel, actually, if we increase the fuel, it means that the cost of production will increase. That is, inflation will go high.
Yes.
And actually, I've not been inside the government, but what I believe is that
you are supporting the government.
Yes, I'm supporting the government. I want the government to succeed. I don't want the government to fail.
But when you are supporting the government right now, you should also be ready to tell us what you guys are putting in place now, what the government is putting in place to help its people.
I'm just a private citizen that who is advising the government. Maybe my small mind, actually, I believe that they can listen to some of us who are just supporting the, we are supporting the government, but you are from the fence, so you cannot, when you find people inside the compound, you cannot just enter inside the compound, so you have to wait outside the fence for you to see how things are running. But we are supporting the government because we want a better Kenya, we want a prosperous nation, and I believe that Kenya is a superpower house in terms of economy, that we should gain it in Africa.
You are convinced that the government is on the right track and that Kenyans are going to be saved. How can that person in Mashinani who still haven't been convinced that he or she is safe in the hands of Kenya Kwanza government be convinced as well?
For me,
for them to support what the government is doing at the moment.
For me, I'll not say much about those people from Mashinani. I'll not speak much about them because they are the one who brought this government into power. So, for me, I believe that the country is going on the right track, and for us to move as a nation. The other day, the president told us that he had removed the subsidies for fuel, for food, and instead of paying the few elites in the country, he decided that, well, let us feel the pinch of the our economy, and in 2 to 3 years, we shall be back to where the country was.
All right, now as a former Azimio diehard, Raila Odinga has never really gotten a chance to lead the government or to lead the country. Do you think he could have turned around the economy of Kenya should he have clinched power?
Actually, for me, it is around 50-50%. What I believe that let's say, for example, the housing levy that Raila was, we used to campaign about the housing levy. We used to send messages to counties and telling them that we are going to introduce the house levy in this country. And this house levy, it will be a very good economic structure for all of us. For those who don't have homes, it will open up areas and people will buy house. And when people buy house, the government will get money so that it can do more structures in the country. Raila could have actually, I think it could have been the same. There could be no change.
So with the Maandamano, you can say that he's just yapping, or what would you make of Maandamanos?
On the Maandamano, because you know, William Samoei Ruto is a master politician, and on the Maandamano was actually they had a chance to bring changes to tell us what they need in the finance bill.
They have,
but the majority of them could not attend the finance. I was in parliament. I could not see majority. Around 94 member of parliament could not come to debate on the finance bill. They just go talking from outside and telling us that this is a very bad bill. And yet the same government that they are fighting is the same government that pays them. So for us to move as a nation, we need to come together. We need to converge. We may not agree on different ideologies, but we might come up with a better structure for our country to move forward.
I believe Azimio has already given out their structure of what they want the finance bill to look like.
For me, I'll say that it's about a few elites who wants to come into government by the back door. And I believe that, okay, well, the Maandamano is not going to solve our country. Maandamano is not going, it's about distraction. It's about moving our country backwards. Instead of moving our country forward, we cannot have sustainability. Today, Raila was saying that people should stop going to work with cars. How even can we move our country as that? It cannot. So Maandamano is about the few elites who wants to get into power through handshake.
All right, is there proof of what you're saying, Madoka? That they're trying to use a backdoor to get into government?
Yes.
Is there proof?
The former regime, there was handshake regime.
But in this one, they have made it clear that they don't want any handshake.
They have been given bipartisan, where they should come and converge together and debate on what they want. They failed from the first place.
They?
Yes, they did.
They did what?
They failed.
All right, now as we wind up, you're winding up, Madoka, and I want to know, what is the future of Kenya under the Finance Bill 2023 as we wind up?
The future of Kenya under the Finance Bill of 2022
2023.
2020, it's about 2023, 2024.
Yes.
It's about a new, it's like a new shell, a new government that has come into power. And when Kibaki took over in 2002, he found that the country was collecting around 200 billion. He expanded the tax revenue. So he was the best in terms of our economics, and he did well. When he expanded the revenue, the country could move forward. We saw about the free education. It was about the Vision 2030. For us to move forward, the plan of the Kenya Kwanza, it's about their Vision 2030 also, of which it's already the segmentation is in place. So the finance bill, it's about creating tax revenue also, giving Kenyans jobs, and when you give Kenyans jobs, we can use the taxation to grow our economy.
All right, now that is Madoka Kibet, a political communication strategist, giving us some insights on how the Finance Bill 2023 is going to benefit you as a Kenyan, you and me as a Kenyan. And now with that, we are going to take a very short break. We will be coming back with sports, but before we do that, Madoka, do you have something to say as we close the discussion?
For me, what I'll say, I tell my fellow youths in Kenya, let's be vigilant. Let us support the government. I believe that you gave them the power to rule us, and when we succeed, all of us succeed. Everyone wants a hunger of 100 Kenya shillings. Everyone wants a fuel to be reduced to up to 120 Kenya shillings. Everyone wants free fertilizers so that we increase the production of our country. People, for us to move forward, the trajectory of Kenya Kwanza, it's on the right way. And I believe that the Russian-Ukraine war that started a long time ago, it has increased the cost of inflation in Kenya since because the imports are not coming into our country, and so we have to, because I was in the East Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Uganda beat us on food production, and which they are 300,000 square kilometers less than us. Tanzania, it's almost 400,000 square kilometers. For us, for our future of our nation, I believe that if we invest in the northeastern Kenya, we can have food security.
All right, allow us to take this break. Madoka, thank you so much for your time and for gracing our studios.
You need to look for high quality friends.
I'm from Kingston, Jamaica, you know Portmore. That's my village.
Sanga chini hapo ukinyedhia ukikatia mademo akipita.
Sinaweza saa hii nimekuja kukopesa choo.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the world of sports. Federation of Kenya National Super League leaders Shabana FC miss out on the chance to extend their lead atop to 6 points after their match against MCF that was scheduled to take place today at 3 p.m. was rescheduled to tomorrow. Shabana are top of the NSL with 67 points, 3 points ahead of second place Murang'a Seals, who have a game in hand. On other NSL matches slated to be played tomorrow, Murang'a Seals will take on Black Stars. As Mara Sugar battle Vihiga United, Coast Stima will face Kajiado FC, while Gusii are expected to play against Darajani Gego. And finally, the Karen County Club is set to host the 7th round of the NCBA Golf Series on the 1st of July this year. This round has attracted over 200 golfers who are eyeing to emerge as overall gross winners in men's, women's and juniors category in an attempt to seal a slot at the grand finale set to be played at the conclusion of the series later this year. This year's NCBA Golf Series edition consists of a total of 17 qualifying events hosted at various golf clubs in Kenya, Uganda and Rwanda. All right, that brings us to the end of Primetime News. Be sure to stay tuned for our subsequent bulletins that will be tomorrow. You'll be joined by Joseph Kess for Primetime News and Dennis Omondi for Mizizi Habari. And be sure to keep interacting with us on our social media platforms at KUTV_Kenya. My name is Anne Odida. I'm in the company of EVELYNE Langat, who is a sign language interpreter tonight. Have a good night and see you next week, inshallah.